Hello, my name is Arik, and thank you for being here. We'll talk about a bit strange thing today. We call it reviving burial in tunnels. We'll talk about the dilemma or the problem the world is facing, our vision about it, the project that we are currently having, and what's so important for the tunneling business, prospect or development. Here you can see an example of some graveyards from the world. You can see in Rio de Janeiro, it's in Botafogo, and in Paris, New York, Hong Kong. What we see, and I'm sure everyone saw it in his town or crossing through major cities, we see crowdness in cemeteries, we see narrow lanes, we see small paths, and they're becoming smaller and smaller through the years. And what used to be cemeteries used to be at the city outskirts, outside, but cities grew, and they are growing all the time. And as a result, what we see that the community and housing are suddenly going very next to the cemeteries. Another problem is decreasing number of visitors. Through the years, people less and less going to cemeteries to visit their deceased family members. And what happens is basically what I call, it becomes lifeless islands inside cities. And I'm sure everyone saw it, example of that. Solutions that are worldwide, because of the problem of the cost of land and the green, the will to save the environment and everything related to that, we see examples. For example, in Santos in Brazil, you see huge building. It's like a skyscraper. Example in Barcelona and Tel Aviv. This is recently, and we have similar things in Jerusalem. You'll see shortly. In Modena, in Italy, very nice building, but still a building that we are placing people there. And here is an image I saw that are planned to do in Mumbai. Again, it sounds. You know, using today's world, I just don't like it, and I'm sure most of you don't like it. Now, a little bit of history. Here we can see some burial in caves and tunnels that was in the past. You can see in Israel for Jewish cemetery and Christian cemetery in Israel. Italy, we have it in Rome, and we have in Milan. I saw some in Peru, some pictures, in Malta, so it's something that was common, basically first and second century. It stopped. This is the project we are doing now in Israel. We started a small pilot project here, 250-meter tunnel, and after we saw it makes sense, and this is underneath an existing cemetery. We are now building this big project. We have 4 portals, 1 main shaft with elevators, and this project is for 22,000 tombs that will be installed there through the years. Some points about design and construction aspects. Architectural, it's very important to work with the client, and here again we are working with the client and his needs. We have to take care of lighting and acoustics and the materials. Everything is very important here. Geology, as always in tunneling, we did some site investigation, and we are doing a continuous ongoing monitoring. Tunneling, we are using NATEM system, so we have various versions of how to treat each type of rock. And we're using mainly road headers. We have to remember that we are working underneath an existing cemetery, so we don't want to use explosive too much in order to interfere to the living people around. And of course, we have to take off waterproofing. Construction is very strange because cemeteries in many religions become sacred places. So actually you cannot come and wreck the building and start again after a few years, even though some countries do that. So we are building the concrete structures inside for lifetime span. It's a bit different, but each concrete that has to be this thick is now a little bit more, and everything is more invested. There are many theological issues, local rights, and very important for us is the ground connection. From dust you come, and for dust you shall return, so we keep it. It's also a unique system. Ventilation, we are using a suction system. We are sucking from the portals and taking through the shaft. Fire safety, again, there is nothing like this in the world, so we are like writing the book now. And we're using special codes for the assemblies of people from cemeteries and tunneling, and we are combining them all in order to make it that it will make sense. And accessibility, mostly coming to cemeteries are elderly people, so we have to be able to allow them how to travel there safely and comfortably, and also disabled people. So we're going to use golf carts, electrical golf carts, and also elevators that are going to be used. Here we can see some examples of the project, some cross sections. This is a cross section of the shaft. It's a bit difficult to see, but this is 23 meters by 19. This is two different types of cross sections. Here we have some unique system of drilling and actually placing instead for precast, we're going to use it inside the mountain. And here we can see a cross-section of the shaft. This will hopefully how it's going to look at the end. It's going to be very, going to make it very nice. Okay, I'm trying to speed up. Tunneling business development. Actually, the entire world. There are 7.3 billion that lucky, not lucky, but if we want or if we doesn't want, it's going to be in the next 80 years, everyone has to be replaced. So it's have to be developed each place according to its rights and religious, and then it can be monitored and diverted to the right solution. Some advantage, and I'll go very quickly, always retrieving ancient tradition is some sort of privilege to do, especially if you do it nicely and with new ideas. Maintaining direct connection to the ground, very important that we keep it. Preserving the landscape, of course. Keeping the cemetery close to the community. Reusing cemeteries because we recommend to build it underneath an existing cemetery. It's also suitable for cremation, and this is a very big issue to talk about, but again, cremated people also can be placed there. It's always will be a shelter from wind, sun, rain, snow, so it will be okay to be there at any time. Preserving the tombs. Everyone saw cemeteries when there are no more writings, and because of rain and wind, it was erased. And of course, we are eliminating the future lifeless islands. So basically, reviving burial in tunnels in the future, we think it should be the future of in the world for cities. Now I have a very short movie. I don't know how it works.
Underground burial in caves and tunnels was common in biblical times and for thousands of years in the Holy Land as well as Europe. For dust you are, and to dust you shall return. In our day, due to population growth and land costs, along with the attempt to preserve green areas, cemeteries have become a nuisance, especially in cities and other large communities. They are lifeless islands in the midst of heavily populated areas. Cities worldwide are seeking to allocate less land to maintain current burial practices. Rolzur Tunneling, Israel's leading company in the construction of underground tunnels, caverns, and shafts, has come up with an innovative solution: reviving burial in tunnels. A successful pilot experiment in Jerusalem led to a large-scale project currently being built underneath the city's main cemetery. The present project for the construction of 22,000 dignified, respectable plots will be implemented in stages and can start accommodating burials within approximately 2 years. One of our major goals is making the new underground cemetery a pleasant, serene place to visit in any weather. All religious guidelines and rites are being taken into consideration, alongside the required engineering aspects. We offer tailor-made solutions while working closely with each community, honoring its local customs and cooperating with its municipal bylaws to build the most suitable underground cemetery for that area. Environmental concerns are constantly borne in mind. Our innovative solutions have already generated worldwide buzz, and articles have been published across the globe, from Russia to the US. Our revolutionary achievements are being presented at distinguished conferences, both engineering and theological, and Rolzur has even been nominated to receive an award for the most innovative tunnel solutions of the year from the International Tunneling and Underground Space Association. We are certain that reviving the practice of subterranean burial, which started in Jerusalem, will become a beacon for the planning of future cemeteries around the world.
Thank you very much, and don't forget, in this world, it's death and taxes, not in the same order.